Welcome back to the H&T Show. This is our educational segment. We had a very interesting question the other day from one of our followers, and his question to me was, what denotes that Peter Sagan is a world champion, which is the rainbow jersey? So we said that's what denotes a world champion. And then he said, well, he's not in the Tour de France anymore, and that makes him technically the best rider in the world because he's the world champion. So how does that whole system work?
Well, that system is not complicated at all. Your World Championships is held once a year. It's normally held just after your last Grand Tour of Spain.
Yeah.
So it's September. And it's a course that gets changed every year. So it's not purely a sprinter's course. There have been courses that suit sprinters down to the ground before, but they try and make it fair to accommodate every type of rider.
Okay.
Sagan has won it 2 years in a row. We say that they try and make it to suit everybody. So this year, what are they going to do? Are they going to try and make it suit a climber like Bardet? Are they going to try and make it suit somebody like Cummings, who's a power rider? Talk is that no, it's going to suit somebody like Peter Sagan again. It's in Norway. So we've said it before, Norway have designed the route. Norway have designed the route with two of their riders in mind.
Yep.
They've designed the route with Bosenhagen, and they've designed the route with
Alexander
Kristoff in mind. Power sprinters, bit of a power climb. Who fits a power sprinter better than Peter Sagan? So who knows? Maybe they've done him a favor. Perhaps he takes a third rainbow jersey, and he gets to wear those stripes once again.
So there you have it. That's how a world champion sort of wins his jersey. It's a race that takes place. It's once a year. It's a one-day race. So the main thing is that at the end of the day, that rider wins, he gets the rainbow jersey, similar to a situation in athletics, for example, where Usain Bolt maybe does a couple of athletic meetings before the world champs, but doesn't even feature in the winning circle, and then come world champs, he ends up winning the world championships 100 meters, and he's the world champion for the 100 meters. That's sort of how it works. Some people might say it's not fair.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you. Yeah, it is not fair. How can a guy who wins a one-day race be the world champion? What about a guy who wins a 3-week event and he's not the best in the world? He wins the biggest race in the world. He wins the Tour de France, and he's not a world champion. How does that work? That's unfair, man.
Okay, well, that's a fair enough question, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, if you have a rider that's winning the Tour de France, for example, and then there's won maybe a couple of other stage races or big one-day classics, surely he should be ranked as the world champion. What they do is they do something similar to tennis and other sports, where over the year in the different events there's points available, and the more consistent you are in those events, the higher your points tally is, and at the end of that year you will then be known as the #1 ranked rider in the world.
Okay.
Same as where, let's see, for example, Andy Murray's ranked #1 in the tennis, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he was. He's just been bombed out of Wimbledon.
We've had cases where in tennis you've had the #1 ranked tennis player in the world get knocked out and he doesn't win Wimbledon, and he's not the Wimbledon champion. Same with cycling. So you have world championships, you have a world champion that wins that race and he becomes the world champion, but that does not necessarily mean that he is the world #1 rider. We then look at the more consistency side of things, and we take his results over a period of a year, and that's where we find who the best rider in the world actually is.
Okay, great. So what we can cover in another program, H, is I've heard that before as well. Somewhere in the distance, somebody told me a story like that once before. What we can look at is apparently these guys then get awarded a certain amount of points, UCI points, and those are really valuable to teams.
Yes.
So we can talk about that in another educational program. The UCI points for teams. Why is it important for a team to have UCI points? You're going to give us some info on that at a later stage.
Most definitely. That's a really interesting sort of talking point. It's a pivotal sort of maneuver in most cases for certain teams, and we'll definitely discuss that in our next episode.
Till next time, from H&T, keep it safe.
Cheers.
Cheers.